Okay, hi everybody. Welcome to another English class here on verbling.com. My name is Lisa and I'm one of the English teachers here on Verbling. And if you want to join us, then just wait for the join class button to become available and then click on it. Or, of course, if you have a reservation already, you can use that now. We're going to be doing some reading and also talking. So it's not a very long article that we're going to read, but we're going to read it together just to make sure we understand what the situation is, and then we will discuss it. And I want to hear what you guys have to say. So it's kind of like a reading slash speaking class. So hi guys, welcome. Hamid, hi, how are you?
Hi, I'm okay. What about you?
I am sehr gut.
Good.
Good. Hamid, do you know German already? Have you learned some German? Or
In my high school, when I was in ninth class,
okay.
I learned 1 year, and also when I was in my bachelor, in the second year, I went to course.
Oh, okay.
So,
Cool.
so my level is between A1 and A2.
Okay, good. Well, now you get to practice some more while you're there.
Yes, and German is similar English, so sometimes I compare some words, so I can conclude some words meaning.
Right. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, use some clues from English to help you with the German. Good. And Hamid, are you in Berlin? I'm not sure where you were going.
I am in Würzburg, near Nuremberg.
Oh, okay. Würzburg. All right. I think I've been there before. Can't remember. Okay. Fernando, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Good. How's Virginia?
Very cold.
Oh, really?
Yes, it's a cold day here.
Oh, wow. Okay. So the weather started to turn colder, I see.
Yes.
All right. Well, make sure you bundle up. Bundle up means to get on your jacket and warm clothes.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, Amparo, how are you?
Hi, teacher. Doing great, thank you. What about you?
Good. How was your weekend?
Well, Friday was holiday here because on Thursday was Independence Day of my city.
Oh,
So
your
we
city.
had a free day. So all my family, we went to the beach and stayed there until yesterday.
Oh, wow, cool. Nice. Yeah, we missed you in the role-playing class on Saturday.
Yeah, long weekend, and so no Wi-Fi.
No Wi-Fi.
On the beach.
Yeah,
Just
well, hey, you gotta take a break now and then.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why I missed the class. But you can do another one this week.
Okay. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had only guys in that class, but Hamid was there and we had fun, so it's always good.
I missed that.
Yeah. Okay. And Veronica, how are you?
I'm fine, thanks.
Cool. Veronica, where are you calling from?
I'm from Poland.
From Poland. Okay, cool.
Yes.
Welcome. And Adrian's showing up and coming into class. Hi, Adrian. Welcome. Okay, guys. So we can get started. I usually like to just say hi to everybody as you're coming in and take the first 5 minutes or so to welcome people, but then we can get started with our lesson so we can use this time that we have together. So for this hour, what I have is this article. It came across my news feed on Facebook or something like that, and so I read it and I thought it would be interesting for us to read. Now I didn't put it, so I'm gonna just maybe close this here so we don't have to see all the ads all the time. But it's from MSN News, so Microsoft, their news, kind of like Yahoo or something. And I thought it was interesting, so I thought we could use it more just to read through it first and to get the idea of the story and then talk about it, because I think it's an interesting, interesting but also kind of scary and kind of a sad story as well, as we'll read. But let's just go with the title here. So the title says woman exonerated in murder case after 17 years. So the key word there would be exonerated. We would have to know what that means so that we know what this article is about. Does anybody know already what that word means? Exonerated?
I think I do.
Okay. What do you think it means?
That she's innocent, but she wasn't. So it's kind of complicated. I don't know how to say it, but she was officially made innocent.
Yeah.
Something like this.
Uh-huh. So when a person goes to jail, or even if you don't go to jail, but maybe you've been committed, somebody accused you of something, but in a legal sense, if you went to actually jail, then basically later on, if you have new evidence, they can find you not guilty. So yes, basically it's kind of like officially finding out that you're not guilty, and then yeah, good. Amparo, you put hook off, yeah, to take off the hook, you know, let off the hook. So she has been let off the hook, or she has been acquitted. That's another legal term. When you are acquitted, usually you are acquitted when you're found not guilty, but in this case, exoneration is she already was found guilty, and now she has been in jail for 17 years, and now she's being exonerated. So now they're letting her go because she's being absolved from blame. So she has been found to be not guilty, actually. So that's kind of amazing. Think of somebody who's spent 17 years in jail for something that they actually did not do. So as we can see in the title even already, she was there for murder. So she had been found guilty of murder 17 years ago. And during that whole time, she was in jail. But in fact, she hadn't even done it. So that's what we're going to read about. We'll read the details, and then I want to hear from you guys about this. And, you know, it brings up ideas about our justice system and what does it mean to have a jury find you guilty and how, you know, stuff like that. Okay, so I'll read a little bit, and then I'll let you guys read as well. Torrance, California, so that's where it took place. A woman who spent 17 years in prison after being convicted of murder in the death of a homeless man was exonerated Friday by a Los Angeles County judge who said she should not spend another minute behind bars. Okay, Veronica, why don't we start with you, and you can read that paragraph again. We'll have a couple of turns each probably, and then we'll talk about it.
A woman who spent 17 years in prison after being convinced of a murder in the death of a homeless man was exonerated Friday by a Los Angeles County judge who said she should not spend another minute behind bars.
Good. So a couple of things here. Convicted. So convicted means you were found guilty. You went to trial, and the jury found you guilty, and so therefore you went to jail. So she had been convicted in the death of a homeless man, but she was exonerated on Friday in Los Angeles County. So in the United States, we have states, that's the larger regions, and then inside of those states, we have counties. So for example, let me just see if I can find it real quick. Every state, in California you might know is a very large state, so they have lots of counties in the United States. So if you're ever living in the United States or you're visiting, you might hear about the different counties of the areas that you're living in. So this is Los Angeles County. That's where, of course, like Hollywood is, for example. That's pretty popular. Some of these other counties of California are not as popular. This is the county I was born in, Fresno County, right there. People are probably familiar with San Francisco. That's up here in what we call the northern part of California. So San Diego is also kind of a famous place. So we have different counties, smaller regions of a state. Okay. All right. And she said the judge said she shouldn't spend another minute behind bars. So that's another way to talk about being in jail, is behind bars. If you say somebody is behind bars, that means they are in jail. That person is in jail. All right, the courtroom burst into applause after Superior Court Judge Mark Arnold overturned the conviction of Susan Mellon, who was to be processed for release from the suburban Torrance courthouse. Okay, Hamid.
The courtroom burst into applause after Superior Court Judge Mark Arnold overturned the conviction of Susan Mellon, who was to be processed for a release from the suburban Torrance courthouse.
Good. So burst into applause. So you can. This helps you get an image of what is happening. So the courtroom where everybody is, they're listening and waiting for what the judge is going to say. And then, of course, as soon as the judge says this, everybody starts clapping. And so that's like an explosion or, a burst of energy and noise and this kind of stuff. So they use this expression, burst into applause after the judge, so Superior Court, that's a higher level court system, overturned the conviction. So if you overturn something, you make it the opposite of what it was. So she had been convicted 17 years ago, and now the judge can overturn it, so make it so that she is not guilty. So there's evidence, and so he was able to overturn. So that's a verb, to overturn the conviction, the noun there, the conviction. All right, so she was to be processed for release. So she was going to be released, basically. From the suburban Torrance courthouse. Suburban just means kind of outside of the city, and that's the name of the city there, Torrance in Los Angeles County. All right, Mellon had entered the courtroom in tears, and her children also wept. The judge said Mellon had inadequate representation by her attorney at trial. I believe that not only is Ms. Mellon not guilty, based on what I have read, I believe she is innocent, he said. For that reason, I believe in this case the justice system failed. Okay, Fernando.
Yes.
You can read all of that.
All right. Mellon had entered the courtroom in tears, and her children also wept. The judge said Mellon had inadequate representation by her attorney at trial. I believe that not only is Miss Helen not guilty, based on what I have read, I believe she is innocent, he said. For that reason, I believe in this case the justice system failed.
So, as you can tell when you read these sentences, it's a very emotional time. So what does it mean that she entered the courtroom in tears?
She getting crying.
She was crying.
She was crying, yeah.
She was crying, and also her children wept. So to weep is another word for to cry. Right. Yeah, they also wept. So her children, can you imagine, 17 years, your mom is in jail, they were also crying. And this is a key line for us in this article. The judge said she had inadequate representation by her attorney at the trial. So let's see, Fernando, do you understand inadequate? What does that mean? The word inadequate.
That is bad or is not the correct form.
Yeah, another way might just be like not good enough. Like if something is inadequate, it's not good enough for whatever you're doing. So, for example, if you have a house, but the house has inadequate heat, then you're going to be cold. For example, it's not enough. It's not good enough. So we can use this word a lot to describe whenever something isn't, we say up to par or up to speed, whenever it's not good enough for the reason that you need it. Like if something's broken maybe, or it's just not good enough. So she had inadequate representation by her attorney. So basically the idea was her attorney, her lawyer, did not do a good job. So we, in English, we say that your lawyer or your attorney represents you in a case or at trial. And so, usually you don't speak for yourself. Your attorney does all of the questioning and bringing up witnesses. You guys have probably seen lawyer movies. We have a lot of them in English in the U.S. But so that can be a problem if your attorney is not very good and he or she doesn't really know how to bring evidence and support the evidence. Then you might not get a fair trial or a good decision. So that was the problem. Hamid, you said insufficient. Yes, inadequate, insufficient, not good enough, bad, all kinds of things. So this judge, the new judge here, in this new 17 years later, says she's not only not guilty, but based on, so whatever he's been reading, he thinks she's actually innocent. And, excuse me, and for that reason, the justice system has failed. So the justice system refers to our court system here in the United States for how we try to make sure we're not putting people who are innocent in jail. But in this case, it was a failure. Okay, Mellon's case was investigated by Deirdre O'Connor, head of a project known as Innocence Matters that seeks to free people who are wrongly convicted. O'Connor said in an earlier interview that she found that Mellon was convicted of the 1997 killing based solely on the testimony of a notorious liar. Mellon, a mother of 3, was sentenced to life in prison without possibility of parole. Wow, that's crazy. Okay, Hamid. Sorry, Amparo.
Mellon's case was investigated by Deirdre O'Connor, head of a project known as Innocence Matters that seeks to free people who are wrongly convicted. O'Connor said in an earlier interview that she found that Mellon was convicted on the 1997 killing based solely on the testimony of a notorious liar. Mellon, a mother of 3, was sentenced to life in prison without possibility of parole.
Yeah. Okay, what do you think this means here, Amparo? Innocence Matters. That's the name of their project.
I suppose that that this it's like a foundation, something that they just trying to recover information about a case that he is supposed to be innocent people.
Yeah. So do you understand the word matters? Like if something matters, what does it mean if it matters? If it matters or not?
Kind of issues, like a problem.
But if something matters, we say that it's important. If we say, oh, it doesn't really matter, that means it's not very important. So innocence is important. We have to really know whether or not who we're putting in jail, if they're guilty or innocent. So that's kind of why they named it that way. It's important. And so they seek to, they try to, they want to free people who have been wrongly convicted. So if you have been wrongly convicted, it means it was a mistake. Somehow, for some reason, the conviction was wrong. You were found guilty when actually you were innocent. So that's the idea there. So the reason why she was going after this is because she found out that this lady, Mellon, had been convicted based solely on, so to be based only on. Solely means just that's it. But no other evidence, but just the testimony of a notorious liar. So what is a testimony, Amparo? Somebody gives a testimony in court.
When someone said wow, an explanation, and he said that he saw something that is not real. In this case, is not real. That is the statement that he said.
Right? Yeah. Yeah. If you give a testimony, you could do it in court. You could do it like in Congress or something, like the presidents or the Congress people give testimonies. You could do it even just at school. You know, if they ask you something, you could provide a testimony. It's your explanation of what you think happened. You know, like I saw this person doing this. You know, you're giving that piece of information about something. So it's usually in a case. And the problem with this is that this person who gave that testimony was a notorious liar. So notorious. Do you guys know that word? Notorious?
Yes, to be famous in a bad way.
Exactly. You're famous for something negative. So you're notorious for doing something that's not good. So like lying, for example. So she was famous for being a liar. So people knew that she was a liar. All right, this is kind of the sad part. I have 3 children, so I can't even imagine that if I had 3 children and I was convicted of something I didn't even do, and I was sentenced to life in prison. Sentence means that's what your punishment is. When you get convicted, then you receive a sentence, or you get sentenced to something. Life in prison without possibility of parole means you'll never get out. Parole is the possibility of getting released. So a lot of times, even if somebody murders somebody, the punishment may be that they have, 20 years in prison or life in prison, but they have a possibility of parole. Parole means they'll check and see if they think you are better, and then maybe you can get out of jail. But she didn't even have that. So this is like the toughest sentence you can receive besides the death penalty, for example. All right. The witness who claimed she heard Mellon confess was June Patty, who had a long history of giving false tips to law enforcement, according to documents in the case. She died in 2006. 3 gang members subsequently were linked to the crime, and one was convicted of the killing. Another took a polygraph test and said he was present at the bludgeon killing of Richard Daley, and Mellon was not there. Okay. Adrian.
The witness who claimed she heard Mellon confess was June Patty, who had a long history of giving false tips to law enforcement, according to documents in the case. She did in 2006. 3 gang members subsequently were linked to the crime, and one was convicted of the killing. Another took a polygraph test and said he was present at the bludgeon killing of Richard Daley.
Yeah. And Mellon was not there.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so the witness, you guys know what a witness is? Who is a witness? The word, the witness.
The person who saw the crime.
Yes. A witness is a person who sees something, like a crime being committed or something like that. So she claimed, this person, she claimed, that means she said, that she heard Mellon confess. So to confess means to tell somebody that you did it. So if you confess to a crime or to breaking the law or something, it means you tell somebody, yes, I did do this. But the problem is this lady here, she had a long history of. So this means she had been doing this thing a lot of, for a lot of times, and what she was doing is giving false tips to law enforcement. Law enforcement is just another name for the cops or the police. So she would give them false tips or information. She might say, hey, this guy, he over there, he's selling drugs. That's like a tip to the police so that the police will go over there and investigate, but it's a lie. It's false. It's not true. So according to the documents, all right, so she died several years ago now, and later, so subsequently means later. So, she got convicted of this crime, then later 3 actual gang members were linked to the crime. They were found to have a connection. A link is a connection to this crime, and one of the gang members was actually convicted of the killing. So now they have 2 people that were convicted of the same killing, and another gang member took a polygraph test. Do you guys have any idea what a polygraph test is?
Something that doesn't below that you lie.
Yeah. So it's called a lie detector test. So if you take this test, supposedly it knows if you are lying or not. And so this means, that basically if you take the test, then you're telling the truth if it comes out that way. And so he says, the gang member says that this person, Melon, she wasn't even there. She was not there. Bludgeon means the way they killed him was with a knife. So to bludgeon somebody is to use some kind of a weapon like a knife to stab them. So it's kind of gross. It's a gruesome crime, violent crime. All right, so she was not even there at the scene of the crime, we say. In a habeas corpus petition, O'Connor said the police detective who arrested Mellon was also responsible for a case in 1994 that resulted in the convictions of 2 men ultimately exonerated by Innocence Project. It said the primary evidence against Reggie Cole and Obie Anthony was the false testimony of an informant who avoided prosecution for other charges in exchange for his help. All right, so here we have the bigger problem. Let's see, we had Jorge Luis, you just joined us. Hi there.
Hi, teacher. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yes, good. Would you like to read this 2 paragraphs here? These 2 paragraphs?
Sure, teacher.
Okay, great.
In a habeas corpus petitions, O'Connor said O'Connor said the police detective who arrested Mellon was also responsible for a case in 1994. The result in the convictions of 2 men ultimately exonerated by Innocence Project. It said the primary evidence against Reggie Cole and Obie Anthony was the false testimony of an informant who avoided prosecution for other charges in exchange for his help.
Good. Okay. So in a habeas corpus petition, so this is obviously a legal term, but the idea is that you can petition the court. To petition them means to bring some paperwork to the court and say, we want you to review this case again because we have some new evidence or something like that. So it's a review. And so O'Connor, the judge, this new judge, I believe, yes, no, the lady who runs the project, she was saying that the police detective who arrested this woman, Mellon, he was also responsible for another case where 2 guys were innocent, but they had been convicted. So they later, ultimately, they were exonerated, but they also had the same problem. They went to jail even though they were innocent. And this was the same police detective who was involved with that case. These are the 2 people who went to jail. So the primary evidence against them, the evidence against you is like what somebody said or what somebody saw, the testimony or something that gets you convicted. Again, the problem was false testimony. So somebody was lying on the stand, which is against the law. You're not supposed to do that. You've probably seen where you're supposed to swear on a Bible that you're going to provide the truth and nothing but the truth. That's what you're supposed to do. But an informant is somebody who tips off the cops, somebody who tells the cops information. So this person lied on the stand, we say, so in court, to avoid prosecution, so to avoid getting sent to jail for another problem, another charge, which is like a crime that they committed. So he wanted to save himself. He lied, and these two guys were found guilty and went to jail. Mellon's youngest children were 7 and 9 when she was arrested. Although each member of this family suffered tremendously, they remain a close family unit, O'Connor said. One of the daughters was honored by Innocence Matters for bravery in obtaining a confession that helped to prove her mother's innocence, O'Connor said. Okay, Veronica.
Mellon's youngest children were 7 and 9 when she was arrested. Although each member of this family suffered tremendously, they remain a close family unit, O'Connor said. One of the daughters was honored by Innocence Matters for bravery in obtaining a confession that helped to prove her mother's innocence, O'Connor said.
Okay, so her children were just 7 and 9. And one of the links that Hamid put up showed pictures of them, I think, when they were that age. So they have suffered tremendously. Tremendously here means a lot or to a great amount. So this family, of course, that's a lot of suffering when your mom goes to jail, especially when she's innocent. She should not even be there, and she's there while you're growing up for 17 years. Even though, obviously, that's a huge amount of suffering, they remain. To remain means they stay. So they're still very close as a family unit. So as a family. To be honored by means somebody gives you like a special reward or something, and they honor you. They recognize you for something that you did. And so one of them was, she was honored for bravery. To be brave, to be courageous, to have courage to do something that might be dangerous or difficult. And what she was able to do was obtain or get. So to obtain means to get. A confession. A confession, again, is when somebody admits to doing something or not doing something. And this confession helped to prove her mother's innocence. So it helped to convince the judge that her mother was actually innocent. The kids are overjoyed by the news of their mother's anticipated exoneration and are anxious to make up for lost time, O'Connor said. Okay, Hamid.
The kids are overjoyed by the news of their mother's anticipated exoneration and are anxious to make up for lost time, O'Connor said.
Okay. Overjoyed. What does it mean, Hamid, to be overjoyed?
To be joyful too much.
Yeah, more like extremely happy, very happy. Yeah, you're so happy. You know, finally their mom is going to come out of jail, and so they are very, I would say, eager. They really are really excited to make up for lost time. So this is an expression we use when you haven't seen somebody for a very long time, maybe, and now you want to make up for it. So you want to kind of do everything you can with that person because you didn't get to do something with them before. So you want to spend a lot of time together and visit and hang out and everything. So here we see some pictures of, this is the lady right here who was in jail for all those years, and this was her attorney, the lady who helped finally get her released. Here is the judge, that's what it looks like. These guys wear these robes and stuff. So that's at a courtroom there in Los Angeles County. And so now she's being released. She gets out of jail. And so there you go. All right, so before we talk about it, I want to hear what you guys think about this case. Does anybody have any questions about the language at all? Any words you want me to explain again or better or something? Okay, before we start, Amparo, why don't you basically summarize the article for us? What is this article about? How would you tell your friend what this is about?
Oh, well, this is an article about a woman that was accused of murder a guy. 17 years was in prison because his attorney, her attorney, wasn't good enough to defend her. And she was accused for a policeman that also have another cases of to accuse innocent people. And they were she was in prison just with the testimony of a woman that everyone know that he was a liar.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, her attorney wasn't good to find enough proof to defend her. And now there was another woman that had like a foundation, something that help people to look for information to liberate them from the prison. And when she was condemned, she was in prison in life and without any option, without parole.
Without parole.
Now finally, they are her daughters. They were just a little girls when she was in prison, when she was arrested, and one of them just fight against the system, try to prove that her mom was innocent. And finally they got.
Yes. Okay, so a little bit more background on this, which Hamid found out and which I read real quickly. It apparently probably one of the reasons why she got into trouble like this. It sounds like when she was younger, she got herself into some trouble. So she actually started taking some drugs. And so she was kind of hanging around probably with the wrong crowd of people. And, if you're in the scene of taking drugs and stuff, you might, have some people that are, you're hanging around with people who are drug addicts. And like this person, June Patty, like you said, she was a habitual liar or a notorious liar. So people knew that she was a liar. But sometimes here in the United States, if you're kind of doing drugs and buying drugs and stuff, people might just think you're a bad person already. So they're not going to care as much about you. So they might, her attorney here in the United States, if you don't have money to hire an attorney, and of course an attorney costs a lot of money. An attorney can cost a lot of money. If you don't have enough money to hire an attorney, you get what we call a public defender. And sometimes the public defenders, they have problems of their own. Like they're overworked. They don't make a lot of money. They can't get all the information they need because they don't have a lot of resources. This type of thing. I'm just looking at this other article here. It gives a little bit extra information. In fact, Daley was her ex-boyfriend. So the person that she was accused of killing was actually her ex-boyfriend. So that might have been another problem here, is that they kind of thought maybe it would be logical, this person's taking drugs, maybe she wanted to kill her ex-boyfriend, this kind of thing. So in the article we just read, we didn't get all of the information, but the main information is that the testimony was a lie from the lady who was known to be a liar, and it resulted in this person getting convicted of a crime she didn't commit and spending 17 years in jail. So what do you guys think about this? Any comments? How do you think? When I read something like this, I just think like, how would I feel if this happened to me? And I'm just curious, why did it take so long to get help for her? You know, like that's interesting to me. What do you think, guys? Adrian, what do you think about this article? How would you feel if you were in jail for 17 years and you were innocent?
I think it's interesting. I can. Okay. No, I know there are several of similar case. Similar case.
Similar cases.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. All actors, all that are in this kind of process have a part of their responsibility. I think the worst, maybe the worst is that if you don't have money to pay a good lawyer in this system, you can suffer. You could suffer this type
of situation.
Problem.
Yeah, this problem, big problem.
Big problem. Okay.
Yeah. Yes, that's true. So one of the problems in our system is this fact that, you know, some lawyers are really good, some lawyers aren't very good, some people make a lot of money and have money to hire the best lawyers, some people don't have any money and cannot afford a lawyer, and public defenders sometimes don't have what we call the resources. That means they don't have extra employees to go help them find out more information and evidence and things like that. So and besides that, I found this little graph that tells us of the exoneration. So of the fact, you know, the fact that some people are getting found to be innocent, a lot of it happens because of certain reasons. So sometimes is mistaken ID. So people actually get the wrong person. They made a mistake in what the person looks like or who they were. These are perjury or false accusations, so people lying, basically, telling them, like a false testimony, that kind of thing. That's one reason. Another big reason, the biggest reason, is that people are actually lying about other people, saying they did something when they didn't. Sometimes maybe that person themselves actually admit or confess to a crime they didn't do. Maybe they think they're going to be tortured or in harm, or maybe they've been threatened, like, if you don't do this, I will kill your child, or, you know, there's reasons why people lie about themselves even and confess. Sometimes there's also more lies or misleading type of evidence that the jury doesn't understand, maybe, or they've been lied to about the evidence. And then, of course, we have official misconduct. So that would be the example of a policeman or a detective or a judge or somebody in the system that is not behaving in the correct way. So these are some of the main reasons why somebody might end up in jail who is actually innocent. Fernando, what about you? How would you feel if you were found guilty when you were actually innocent?
I don't know. I feel bad. I feel desperate because I didn't know how to do for show my innocence.
To show your innocence, yeah.
And when I found innocent, I think that the EU system
Yeah.
must be give me, I don't know, a compensate, algo así.
Compensation, yeah.
Yes, a compensation, because I spent 17 years of my life in prison for something that I didn't.
Right.
I think that this the EU system must be that give me a compensation for the 17 years.
Right. Yeah. Well, it's interesting that you're saying that, because I just looked it up in this project here, the Innocence Project. They talk about that, and sometimes you do. Sometimes you do get a compensation, and sometimes you don't. They recommend that people should be compensated $50,000 per year. That's what. Yeah, but I don't actually know if that's. I have to do a little more research to find out if that's actually happening. Oh, you found something, Hamid, maybe? Yeah.
Yes, I found one link about Innocence Project.
Okay. So some financial compensation, it does happen.
All right.
Yeah. But yeah, because not only think about all the things that you missed. I mean, you missed obviously living outside, normal life, but you didn't
spend time with your children.
Yeah, spending time with your children. Also, you didn't have a job, so you weren't making any money. You didn't have any income. And for Americans especially, you didn't even have a chance to save, like, for retirement, because as we can see, and as Hamid wrote, she has gray hair now, so she's older. It's not usually that easy for people just to go get a job now, especially if you say I've been in jail for 17 years, people will try to understand what happened, So, so definitely that's probably the next thing, is that they're going to figure out how much money to give her, because she definitely needs some help. Yeah, she's 59 years old, so she could work, but who knows what kind of skills she has now and that type of thing. So
also, Lizette, there can be some social aspects. I mean, for example, when she is outside, everybody can look at differently as a first time.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because for some changes for our lives, we can separate two things, after and before. So, for example, in previous life, everybody was disliking her, but now she cannot predict people's reactions on herself.
Yeah, to her reactions to her. Yeah.
Yes. So, for example, she can try to find a job, but probably she will go to first time some known people's sites, but they will feel not good as a first time.
Right. Yeah, they might have some concerns or just questions, and it definitely, puts her in a down position. Like, it's not just like a normal person having all the chances that you have. So, yeah. So, Hamid, what do you think about this? How would you feel if this happened to you?
Of course, it is hard situation. Also, I wrote to Verbling chat, with one mistake, our life can turn from to heaven to the hell.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it just seems like, how could she not be so mad? Like, mad about the system, mad about this person who lied about about her. It would really.
Yes, but we don't know her previous, I mean her jail life. Maybe she tried many efforts, some doing things, but
Yeah.
maybe she could not make her voice heard to
Heard.
others,
Right.
heard to others. So we just see this moment,
Uh-huh. Yes.
her life.
Right. Yeah, we don't know how long she's been trying or what they had to do. It could be a very long process. It, sometimes is trying to go through the court system and everything. Veronica, which one are you talking about? Damien Eccles? What happened to Damien?
Yes, I've got a book written by him, and he's also American, and he received and he spent in jail more than 17 years, almost 18.
Wow.
And then they released him, and now he's free, but he got married in jail, and he was there for a really long time, and he must have been really stressed because they could kill him anytime, in fact.
Yeah, right. And so what happened? Do you know what happened finally? How did they let him go? What did they find out that changed it?
Generally, it was fault of society. They needed a scapegoat, and there were three teenage boys that were accused of the murder, and he was the oldest one, and there weren't enough witnesses and nothing that could really say if he is he's guilty or not, but he was sentenced.
Wow.
And yeah.
And so now he's out of jail.
Yes, now he's out of jail.
Wow. So in the book that you read about it, what does he say about it?
It's generally very long. It has, I'll tell you in a moment, it has 500 pages.
Wow.
So it's quite a long one.
Yeah.
But he seemed to be, I read it as a normal book. It's not very emotional or something. He's very distant to this part of his life.
Oh, okay. I see. Yeah. So he was found not guilty then? Like they didn't actually do it? Okay, I see. Did they figure out actually who did it? Because they were charged with killing 3 kids, right?
I'm not sure, in fact. I don't remember, but for sure he's innocent.
He's innocent. Okay. Yeah. Wow. That's terrible. Okay.
Yeah.
Jorge Luis, have you ever read a story about this before? Has this ever been something that you've read about, or is this new?
No, well, here I live in Mexico City. It happened. I have heard about some similar case, and this case scared me a lot because by spend 17 years in jail for something you never did sounds like creepy. So it scared me. It scared me a lot, teacher.
Yeah, it's crazy. Amparo, what do you think about this? Have you heard about these kind of things happening in Ecuador? I mean, basically, it's happening because people are lying, and somebody, you're kind of like the victim of the lie, or something.
Yeah. Yes, I think I'm victim of the lie. I'm victim of the prejudice because the woman have her biases. They conclude that she could be the guilty. and they
Right.
didn't find out find out more evidence. Probably the attorney, the lawyer that she was assigned, he didn't want to find out so much. He just think that she was the guilty, and that's why she was in prison for a long time. But I think now she can sue the state because of that. Maybe she can get money, but that is isn't enough for all the things that she has missed. The relation with her children probably is not going to be the same, even when they have been supporting and her mom.
Right.
When you have been living in a prison, the life is totally different. Probably
Yeah. Sure.
you don't know if she is going to be a better or a worse person than when that she was before,
Yeah.
because probably she had a lot of resentment, bitterness, and maybe she got worse habits inside of the prison. You don't know.
Yeah.
Probably the state is going to be responsible for a monster then, because they create a bitter person.
Yeah. Yeah, no, some people in jail have like amazing transformations and life changing events, but some people, yeah, it's not a very nice place to live. If you're there, especially if you're not really a criminal and you're living with criminals,
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah. Veronica, what do you think about this? It's weird. Hamid, you found something else, and another person, 17 years. So I don't know what the deal is with 17 years. Like it takes that long to prove that you're innocent or something. That's terrible.
I don't know what is it, but it's really, really long. In fact, I am 18 years old, so
oh my gosh, yeah.
almost all my life.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my gosh, yeah, that's really, when you think about it like that, it's crazy. Yeah.
Yes.
Wow. Yeah, did you guys ever see the movie Shawshank Redemption? That's a...
Yes, definitely. Many times.
Similar kind of thing, yeah. Can be very difficult, yeah, to get out of jail. Once you're in there, people just assume that you're guilty, and it's really hard for people to listen to you and to hear new evidence, even if it's the truth. Yeah. Okay, did anybody have any other last-minute comments about this?
I have interesting comment. For example, it can be opposite thing. I mean, it depends on the people's friends. For example, if I find good friends, I can start to write my life in the jail, so I can publish a book, so I can make money with this way.
Yeah, that's one thing. You do have a story now to tell, and it could be that you can make money writing your story and selling a book or something. Yeah, making a
But
movie.
you know how the world has evolutionated when you were inside, the technology,
Right. Yeah,
everything.
sure. Yeah.
a
The
big
internet
change.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, DNA is very important proof technique nowadays.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah, maybe, there are better tests nowadays, but yeah, I don't know. Sometimes in the United States, the jail system, depending on where you live, it can be busy. Lots of stuff going on, and if your state doesn't have very much money, and so lots of problems in the jail system here in the United States, in the court system, and so unfortunately, but luckily she got out, so it's better than not getting out. So okay, guys, thanks for coming to class. We have finished, so I want to let you guys go, and I hope you have a good day.
Thanks, teacher. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye,
Take
bye,
care.
everybody.
Thank you